You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Welcome back to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and we have another episode lined up for you all today. We have a true honor talking to Jay Meacham. He is the go-to mind coach for home builders. He is someone that has been skilled for multiple years. He's helping a lot of people do a lot of amazing things. He has a lot of good foundation, though, from his roots on an Iowa farm. Led his way to Fortune 500 leadership career, but he has a powerful story. He's been through some trials and some challenges in life. But I'm going to leave you all at that teaser and just welcome our guest today, Jay, to the show. First of all, and say, how you doing, man?
It's the best day of my life.
I appreciate that. That's not a bad place to be. So I appreciate you saying that. Let's talk about, first and foremost, the backstory. You have a story where you grew up on an Iowa farm. Tell us a little bit about that, and how did you climb your way to going through a Fortune 500 ladder? Because that's not an easy task. That takes a little bit more than luck.
Yeah. So I grew up in central Iowa on a farm, as you mentioned earlier. It was mid-70s, early 80s. I learned early on that if you truly wanted to be a farmer, at that time, you needed to have equipment and you needed land to farm. And if you didn't have one or both of those things, then you would be looking at taking on significant debt to acquire one or the other. It's even more exaggerated now. And I was the youngest of four kids. My two older brothers went into farming at various points in time with my dad. And in the early 80s, late 70s, there were a series of kind of meltdowns in the egg industry, farming. One of my brothers filed for bankruptcy during that time frame. And so I just started kind of getting the inkling, this is not meant for me. It's not what I'm being called to do, because there were just too many barriers to enter into that. And so I started investigating other things, and one of those was going to college. And at the time, in-state to go to school at Iowa State University or University of Iowa or University of Northern Iowa, public institutions, it was more expensive for me, and I was going to have to foot the bill for education because family income was not there to send Jay to college. So I ended up going out of state to Northwest Missouri State in Maryville, Missouri. It was less expensive there. Out-of-state tuition at that time was less expensive than going in-state. So got my undergraduate degree in accounting, went off into the wide, world, worked for the government for about a year and a half in Denver, and got a call back from a company I had been interviewing with here in Kansas City, which is where I'm at now. They had an opening. Long story short, they made the offer to me. They reloaded me. And I spent almost 28 years with that same entity, which I know is unheard of these days. They were very, very good to me because I was allowed to move around in different functional areas of the company, albeit the first 14 were in accounting and finance. But that was my entree into the organization. They paid for my MBA. I'm a graduate of the Executive Fellows Program at Rockhurst University here in Kansas City. And that opened the door to this whirlwind tour of hopping around in different functional areas. After 28 years, the company, our parent company, was shoring up their balance sheet. They were majority held by a large institutional investor, and they were wanting a return on their investment. And so our parent company started liquidating assets as much as possible. And one of those was the division I worked in. And so I was offered a lovely parting gift after 28 years, the day after my 50th birthday. And 3 days after leading a wildly successful process improvement activity that saved the company $500,000. So thank you, Jay, and happy birthday. that offered me the opportunity to eventually I hung out my own shingle as a business consultant. And I had a nice portfolio of clients. They were former executives that I used to work with. And that was good work. One of them ended up being a retainer client. And lo and behold, they offered me a full-time gig there for 4 years. And things started to get kind of wonky there. The person I was reporting to at the time was the chief information officer. And his MO, he had a history of going someplace for 3 or 4 years and then going to someplace else for 3 or 4 years. He told me when I first started working with him, don't get attached because I'm into year 2 of 4 years here. So his 4-year tenure was coming up and things were changing at the executive C-suite level. In the span of 18 months, all 10 of the executive leadership team changed. 2 were promoted from within. The other 8 came from outside of the industry. And so when you have that kind of change taking place at that level, it's bound to trickle downhill, so to speak. And I was growing more and more dissatisfied, unrewarded, unrich in what I was doing. I had a reputation of being the go-to guy. If you want to get something done, go to Jay. He knows who to get in a room or on a team. He has influence. He's highly collaborative. And that was all well and good. After so much of that, I just was like, okay, I'm done doing this. I'm tired of being somebody else's gopher to get their work done for them and not being recognized. And so September, before the shutdown, before quiet quitting was a thing, I walked out during the course of the weekend. And this was not something that was spur of the moment kind of a thing. My wife and I had been talking about it for quite some time. And she worked full-time too. We were both working full-time for many, many, many years. And we didn't need the income anymore. We were debt-free, sent 3 kids off to college, had been contributing to retirement savings for years and years and years. So we didn't need the income. And all that combined for me to walk out in September before the shutdown the following year. You want to talk about transformational experience. It was all that. So I sat out on the sidelines for a while, figuring out what my next move would be. And I wound up doing personal financial coaching and then later moved into business life and leadership coaching, which is where I'm at now. I have my own practice. And yes, I work with home builders and skilled tradespeople here in the Kansas City area and beyond. I am the go-to mind coach for them. It's a niche I created because I saw a need there. It's one of the fastest growing sectors in the United States, behind IT, behind travel and leisure. Then there's construction, commercial construction, residential construction. So that's my journey.
So again, listen, folks really watching us online, talking to our special guest today. You can go to Jay Meacham's website. His website is coachjmeacham.com. Again, it's coachjmeacham.com. Let's talk about what you do for your clients. So many builders and tradespeople, sometimes they are, going through a lot of pressure points themselves. They might at times feel boxed in. They might feel like they're on the verge of burning out. That gas tank is probably on E, not to be funny in current times, but what are some of the reasons that you see them feeling this way, and what do you believe gets them there?
You've hit it. They're stuck. They're burnt out. It's not sustainable to be walking around stretched so thin. And oftentimes folks will come to me expressing one of 2 things. I call them symptoms. Something's going on in their business. They may have something going on with receivables or cash flow or marketing or sales kinds of things that they've tried. And that may be what they're experiencing on the surface. And when we get really accurate about where they're at as a leader and owner of their business, Not all the time, but typically there's something going on with them as the leader. They may have started this business from scratch. Let's say they worked in skills trades originally as a part of a crew. And after doing that for so many years, they got the itch to start their own business because they felt they could build a better mousetrap, so to speak. And so they start building homes. And things are all great for a while. And then they start to realize, ooh, this is a business. I've created a business. I'm the business owner. I'm leading a team. And they've never experienced this before. They've had no formal training. It's not bad. It's just that they've never had any formal training around business and leadership. And so they catch themselves after a while. It's untenable because they don't know what to do. And they're like stuck. That's when I encounter them. And sometimes they don't know how to grow their business. Sometimes it's one little thing is hanging them up, and they're not really sure why. And so I have a lot of tools that I use with clients. Generically, I speak of them in terms of goal line coaching tools or mindsets and soul line coaching tools. And I don't come at a client with one of those in a package or both of them in a package. It's just a lot of time up front, getting really clear and accurate about what's going on for them and in their world. Sometimes it's people are trying to figure out what their next move, how do they exit from this business that they've created. They may not have family members or heirs that want to inherit it. So what are their options there? And in those cases, they feel stuck because in their mind, they think they either have to just totally wind it down or exit from it and just leave it alone. Let somebody else deal with it. And it's typical. Our mind, the human mind, always thinks in terms of either or kinds of scenarios. And so I slow folks down and have them engage their creative brain and have them think about what are all the possibilities given whatever's going on. Don't paint yourself into a corner that restricts your thinking either or. So I have them, and I ask a lot of both and kinds of questions. So
there are times where people can feel like, man, I don't have time for anything. When you think about how precious time is, how valuable time is for someone who feels like they're running a construction business and they're always on call. They always have something they have to do on their to-do list. What does it actually look like for someone to actually regain that time? Because time is very important in business, and you also are known for helping them regain that time back.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds counterintuitive. I oftentimes say to folks that are time crunched, slow down. Slow down. And they'll look at me and they go, Jay, I can't slow down. I got to keep hustling. I got to keep grinding. I have this I have to do. I have to go to this job site. I have to go meet with this person. I've got a prospective, client wants us to build a home, da, 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 da. And I can take one look at their calendar. It's one thing I do with particularly home builders is sitting down and doing a little audit of their calendar. I have them pick a week, one that's already passed, one that's coming up, or the current week, some week that is representative of their normal kind of day in, day out activity. And we do an audit of their calendar. And I slow them down for 90 minutes. And this is all we do is look at their calendar. And it's really a question of what do you value in your business? What do you value in your leadership? And what's showing up in your calendar? What's the message? If you were to put it in a mirror and look at it, what's it saying about you as the owner or leader of this business? What's the message you're sending to your team? What's the message you're sending to whoever else that can see your calendar? Really, what is it you're valuing? I'll have them, look at things like, okay, why are you in this particular meeting? what's happening here that you absolutely have to be a part of that conversation. And if you don't need to be there, then excuse yourself. I oftentimes will question them about what's the intent or purpose of this? Do you know what the purpose or intention is of this meeting? If you don't, then why are you going? I will also kind of press them or push them on, and this may sound funny. When do you eat? When do you go to the bathroom? I mean, there are days on some of these people's calendars where everything is back to back to back and things are overlapped. And I'm like, no wonder you feel under the gun. I will ask them, okay, when do you have time? Where is there time carved out for you to think and be creative about your business? Because you are the owner or the leader of this. And you need to be intentionally spending time thinking about where it's going. What's the direction? What's the vision? You're the person that determines that, and you're the person that sets that. When are you taking time to do that? So it can be eye-opening. It can be uncomfortable. It also can be very liberating to say, okay, I don't have to go to this. I've got somebody else on my staff that can go to this. They're really the expert. They need to go, not me.
I'm a visual person, so when you're talking about that, I couldn't help but think about, and I apologize in advance if someone doesn't like this metaphor, but it's almost like if someone's at a store and they want to check every single item that is possible to be seen in the store. That sounds crazy, but is it fair to say that business owners can find themselves in that situation where they are so worried about every small detail that they're kind of like the person in the store looking at every single possible item that can be seen?
Yep, they absolutely can be. Because this is their baby oftentimes. They have created this from scratch. And at some point in time, they were filling all these multiple roles. They still may be filling them out of necessity. Other times, they've got people around them. Trust oftentimes is the issue, where they don't trust someone to do something, to do it the way they would do it, or they don't trust themselves to let go of something. That trust thing goes both ways. And it may become a conversation about, okay, who's on your team?
Yeah.
Who's on your team and who can you trust? Sometimes it's a conversation around, okay, I understand that you can't trust someone or you don't think they'll be able to do it the way you would do it. It becomes a conversation around delegation and how to artfully delegate something. These folks, they've not had any business or leadership training sometimes. They've heard delegate, but what does that look like in real life? So coaching them through how to delegate things is a very liberating thing. Easy to do. Sometimes they don't have the right players on their team. And so then it becomes a conversation about, okay, I oftentimes speak in terms of A players. Those are the people that the minute they wake up in the morning, they're thinking about their day ahead at work and they're looking forward to it. They are the people that will talk about the company and the culture and the leadership and their peers as raving lunatics. They absolutely love the people they're working with and where they're working. And so it becomes a conversation. Do you have those people on your team right now? And if you don't, why not? And where can you go find some? Generally, they'll have one or more than one. And so it becomes a conversation about go ask those people, why did they come to work for you? What is it that makes them wake up in the morning ready and eager to come to work? Find out where they hang out when they're not at work, physically, or where they're hanging out online. Chances are you'll find more people like them because A players tend to hang out with each other. And the kicker is A players are A players. And so therefore they're probably working somewhere else because they are an A player. That doesn't mean they may not be looking. or some point in time down the road, they may be looking. They know other A players. So if they are overwhelmed as the owner or leader, they have to start thinking about, okay, I can't do all of this myself. I just physically, mentally cannot handle doing this all myself. And they have to figure out what it is, where they're headed, and how they want to lead their business or their company as a true leader and step into their leadership. It's about setting intention, really, and then understanding, okay, I can't do it where I'm at today. I know I can't continue to do this. Okay, let's talk about the possibilities of you continuing to do some of this and others doing some of it.
Once again, listen on Refocus Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest today. Go to our guest website, is CoachJMeacham.com. And I know we're getting short on time, so let's talk about non-negotiables. There's two things that you touch on, identifying non-negotiable values and also finding a sweet spot. That kind of ties in what we've been talking about moments ago. If someone's watching this and listening to this, how can they kind of understand the difference between the two and stop chasing after every single opportunity that could be burning them?
Yeah. So really quick, non-negotiables are those things that you just don't compromise on as a leader, as a person in your business, in your life. For instance, one of my non-negotiables is I show up on time, ready to work. And I expect anybody else that I'm interacting with to show up on time and ready to work. This is by illustration. Everybody's got those. Not everybody's got the same ones I have. You don't have the same ones I have, Aro. You need to sit down. That's part of that taking time intentionally and thinking about. Here are my non-negotiables. And then you need to find those people that have the same ones. It's part of the journey to A players, is you as the leader identifying your non-negotiables and where are those other people out there that have complementary non-negotiables. Sweet spot. I'll transition to that. I think of sweet spot in terms of the intersection. If you think of a Venn diagram that's got three circles and they overlap, in the very middle of that where they all overlap, that's the sweet spot. In the business, particularly in a small business, it could be a large business too, it's where the intersection of your unique offering, your product or your service, and the technology you have or systems you have. And the third component is the people you have or the culture you have, where those three spheres intersect over each other. That's the sweet spot for your business or your organization. And I have a tool that I walk folks through. It's 9 questions on a Likert scale of 1 through 5. 3 of them are lined up with each of those 3 different spheres I just mentioned. And it's a casual, kind of high level, here's where I'm at relative to my sweet spot. So those non-negotiables show up in that culture sphere as one of the things.
Well, once again, listen on Refocus Radio. I have one more question I can ask you real quick, and that is, faith is something that has played a big role in your personal journey. And for those who are watching and listening to us, if you just zoom out and look at purpose and how that plays a role in your business, what's something that they can pay attention to better, that can better position themselves as they are attempting to grow the business?
Yeah. Faith has played a huge role in my life. And it's interesting the number of people I meet with, Arrow, that have fallen away from their faith or some kind of spiritual practice. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they just have drifted away. And sometimes that's all they need to do is to go back to that and anchor themselves and get really crystal clear about what their purpose is here in life. I mean, our Creator has all given us gifts, skills, and talents that we are meant to use and to share with others. And so grounding yourself in whatever faith tradition it is that you come from, have drifted away from, pick up the phone. Your Creator is waiting for you to call Him. He will offer you countless graces and direction over and over and over again. Just have to be open to it.
Man, that was a great point and almost a mic drop moment. So I'll leave it there. Once again, been talking to our special guest, Jay Meacham. Go to his website, coachjmeacham.com. Wish we had more time, but we might have to just have you back on because I feel like if I ask another question, it might be another 30-minute show. So with that, I want to say thank you for being on. If you have one last thing you want to say to our viewers and listeners, what do you want to tell them?
Here's what I would say to them is how you do anything is how you do everything.
And that's something my dad used to say. So there you go. Once again, listen to Refocus Radio. Go to our website, refocusradio.com, to find out where you can listen to all the amazing episodes right there on the homepage or anywhere you get your podcasts. But don't forget, go to our guest website. His website is coachjmeacham.com. Again, that's coachjmeacham.com. Like always, thank you, Jay, for your time.
Thank you.